Greetings, Guardians, and welcome to the Voices of Vanguard. I am your host, Kane. I am joined by Sully from Sully_Games. Say hello, Sully.
Hello, everyone.
And today we're going to be talking about the cutscene. You know the one I'm talking about, the finale of this season. And we'll be talking about the Vidoc that just aired today, along with the TWAB and State of the Game that came out earlier this week. So yeah, a lot to break down. We'll start off with the mission. And so, Sully, what are your thoughts on the mission?
Mission was fun. Nothing like super special, but the cutscene was really the main attraction for this reset. So
yeah, the mission itself was pretty lame in my opinion.
Yeah,
it wasn't anything special. You just go in and you kill a boss, and that's it. It felt more like a campaign mission level difficulty, or even like a Vanguard strike level difficulty, which is a little bit disappointing. But it's only going to be around for 2 weeks, so.
Yeah, I think they wanted to make it to where it was just out there, and I mean the big thing was to get to the cutscene, which you didn't really have to play the mission because they tweeted it out what you said an hour after.
Yeah, 40 minutes, an hour after, something like that. I almost watched the whole thing, and I was on their Twitter, and I'm like, oh, they put out a trailer for the mission or whatever. So I was watching it. A minute goes by, I look at how much time is left. Oh, 3 more minutes of this. I'm gonna pause you right now. And so yeah, I almost got spoiled on it, but it was a good cutscene. We'll go in for full spoilers. If you don't want to hear about this, you can skip ahead by 3 or 5 minutes.
3 or 5. Come on now, you should know better.
5 or 10.
10.
Okay. But yeah, the Traveler is about to leave Earth. Everyone's looking at it, going, "What the hell's going on here?" And then Aramis hijacks the Warsats and starts aiming at it to blast it to stop it from leaving. And we end up uploading Red into the system to destroy the Warsats and himself. And the Traveler stays.
Well, I don't know if he necessarily stays. So because even I think it's at the at the very end, and the witness says he has nowhere else to go. So I don't know if it's necessarily of him choosing to stay, or he's just kind of well, this is probably my best chance of survival, since literally all of you have Savathun, who, spoiler alert, is a guardian. The Cabal.
The Guardian from spoiler alert from last year. Yes.
Yeah. The Cabal are with us. We're all there. So I don't know if there would be necessarily of other people of choosing where the Traveler for him to go. Thing to go. So
yeah,
I think it just kind of was just well, I guess I'm just here.
Yeah, I don't know. I know a lot of people are saying that the Traveler had nowhere else to go, but we have to take in mind that the witness said that, and he's the bad guy. So
yeah,
it's not exactly a reliable source. And yeah, Aramis was doing it for the witness for what has happened to her homeland in Reese. And yeah, she's shocked and dismayed about the Traveler staying. So I could see her end up switching sides and being on our side, but I really don't want that to happen.
Yeah, I think we're getting to a point where we're having too many allies in the game. So
well, too many bad guys turning ally. There's too many face turns happening.
Yeah. So and I think all the ones that we have now, just they've kind of made sense.
Yeah. Keitel made sense because she's against her dad, and so it's it's a truce, not really an ally, but it's gonna be an ally. And then the stuff with the Elixni,
Mhm.
it's two different factions fighting against each other.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. The Hive are definitely not allies, even though they are imbued with light now, which is weird.
Yeah. Which I'm interested to see on if they do anything with that in these upcoming seasons. Um, or are they gonna wait like another like, the typical Bungie go like a year to 2 years without talking about it, then like, oh, remember this thing that happened 2 years ago? Like we're
Yeah,
gonna like finish off this story.
yeah. The whole thing with Imaru, her Southern's ghost.
Hmm.
There's been nothing following up with that, and I doubt we're gonna get a follow up with Lightfall, because that's all about Callus and the Witness and the Neomuna and all that stuff.
No, but we don't. We know the name for the season after when Lightfall drops, but we don't know like any details. So like, I mean, maybe towards the end it could be something of that nature. But I mean, I guess we can probably get into that like a little bit later when we talk about some stuff.
Yeah, sure. So I think that's about it for the cutscene, unless you have anything else to say. Uh,
I was Bro kind of seemed a little suspicious.
yeah, I didn't really notice anything about him during the
It
cutscene.
just the way, but I mean, I guess it's just Crow in general. Just the way, like, I don't know, he kind of like left when he turned around and like was walking out.
Hmm.
It's kind of weird.
Well,
Other than that,
the next season's going to be about him, so
yeah.
it's going to be about him. I think Marasov and
And Devon,
Devram and
and which I was,
Amanda Holiday.
yeah, which I was actually just on the EDZ. I think 2 days ago, yesterday. I was just trying to finish off that challenge, and I picked up a few bounties, and I was like, oh, he has not done anything for a very long time,
Nope.
and then literally the next season he's going to be a part of.
Yeah, I saw. I think either God for True Vanguard said something about how if you're a new player, Devram is like a new character to you.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, you don't really have like I know they were talking about they were gonna revamp like the NPCs on like the destinations. So like I don't know what they're gonna do with that, but like there's really no reason to go to like any of those NPCs.
No, yeah, the yeah, just like patrol zones in general are just kind of just there for you to like walk around in. I don't know what you're actually doing if you go to one, other than lost sectors, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, let's head on into the Bungie Vidoc then. So first thing that I noted was that our character is speaking again, which is very nice. I guess we only get one line a year, so can't wait to hear
Might as
that.
well take it, I guess. Take what you can get.
um, yeah, they said that the witness is here to finish what the collapse started. We don't know, but we can assume that's just the end of our life. Um,
Well, I mean, it's just kind of I think somebody that played, so much of D1, it was the darkness was always the traveler's like main enemy. So it's like really cool to finally be at this point where like the main enemy of like the traveler is like finally here.
yeah,
Like, so
I
if
yeah,
I know we have a lot of people that didn't play Destiny 1 in our clan. So like for me, this is really cool. It'd be like,
mm-hmm.
okay, like this end is finally coming. Like it's been what,
9, 8.
9 years, 10, maybe 10 years now
Oh wow.
of this. Like finally this build up, and we're
Well,
finally actually meeting
it was 2014,
the
right?
true enemy.
So probably 9 years.
Yeah, 9 years.
Yeah,
And so then, yeah, final shape will be 10.
yeah, that's crazy. 10-year plan. They said it was a 10-year plan.
Well, I can tell you one thing after watching that, like, Destiny's not going anywhere for a while.
No, they've said as much. Like they said that this is going to be the end of the Light and Dark saga. So if you're going to say something like that, you're obviously thinking ahead that there's going to be more of Destiny in the future.
Yeah, they already, I mean, in that doc, they already, besides that, I mean, they said multiple times, like 3 or 4 more times, that, like, that there's more to come after this saga is over with. That there's more than just the Traveler and the pyramids.
Yeah. The 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 thing that I really liked about this Vidoc is that we got to see a lot of the Witness. Like, he's not just in one cutscene or two. Like, he's gonna be there. He looks like he's coming to Earth. Like, he's actually in our atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, he actually didn't really like show it, but they like kind of like talked about it. Like, I think we'll come to like he'll like actually like get close to the Traveler or something. Like he'll meet the Traveler or something. Like there'll be some sort of interaction with him and the Traveler. So like that's gonna be really cool to see on how that happens.
That's incredibly exciting. I'm I am so hyped for this
Yeah,
expansion.
Lightfall I think has a lot of potential, and especially just going based back of what they did with Witch Queen, because Witch Queen was, in my opinion, like probably one of their better like narrative expansions that they've dropped.
Hmm.
So it'd be interesting to see on if they can continue to build off of that and deliver another Witch Queen experience for all the Guardians.
All right. So moving on, I want to talk a little bit about the narrative for Lightfall. So we have Nimbus and Rohan are our two main points of contact.
Mm-hmm.
Nimbus is like the young upstart, and Rohan's the grizzled veteran.
Yeah, you like the lethal weapon uh thing they put in there?
What was the lethal weapon thing?
Oh my god. When
I
the
probably
one
know it,
chick
but
says she was saying which one's the oldest one? Is it
Rohan,
Rohan?
Rohan. Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Where
yeah.
she would,
Okay, I know what you
I'm too
mean.
old for this shit.
I'm too old for this shit. She didn't know if she could swear, which was like the cutest
Yeah.
thing ever. uh, but yeah, I'm too old for this shit. Yeah. Um, I really like these characters. Um, I like the fact that Nimbus is like happy and smiling. Like he's kind of like an Anakin to the Rohan's Obi-Wan.
Oh great.
Except he's probably not as evil.
He's gonna be like the person after Final Shapes, like main villain. You jinxed it.
Well, he's going to be our vendor for
Oh great.
Lightfall.
So now we're funding his army.
Yeah, better his army than the spiders.
Maybe they'll team up.
Oh no, they're the true final villains. But yeah, that's really exciting to see. We got to see a little bit more of the destination just in general.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to see the arcade again. They said that that's going to be a lost sector, which I think a lot of us called. I think you called it specifically.
Yeah, I don't know, but
Okay, well,
probably.
I know a lot of people in our Discord said that that was going to be a lost sector. But we also have the Puka Pond, which I bet you're excited about. We have a bunch of
Yeah,
floating
which
fish.
so obviously, did we ever find out like who the extra stranger like worked with beforehand? Is there
Um,
ever anything in the lore? I know you're a lot more in the lore than I am. So like,
yeah,
did she like work with these people?
I don't think so. I'm not entirely sure. If she has, it hasn't come out yet, and I assume that they'll probably do something in Lightfall where that's where she like came from, was from there.
Yeah, but finally, we finally get to see these dang fish that we've been like wanting to see since like 2 years ago. Like,
Since Beyond Light trailer, yeah.
yeah,
So that's probably gonna be another lost sector is the Puka Pond. They showed off
yeah, they
from
didn't really say anything about that, but other than
they did not say anything about that other than like, hey, we have a pond and it's full of flying fish. It's like, okay, cool. um, then they showed off a little bit more of the tormentors. We've seen before that they can grab you. We didn't know if that was going to be like a gameplay thing or just in the cinematic. They've straight up said that's going to be a gameplay thing. They're supposed to be a lot tougher than champions and wyverns.
So I'm gonna. Somebody put down in the comments who's gonna get grabbed first. Is it gonna be Kane
Oh,
or is it gonna be myself?
oh, you know, 100% it's going to be me.
You're gonna be a warlock. You're gonna be chilling in the back, with your rift and whatnot. I'm gonna be flying around with Strand and trying to do like the Strand melee stuff and just
Mm-hmm.
doing all crazy hunter things.
Yeah, our day one team for the DLC is you, me, and Demandred. So if it's out of us three, and I'm doing
Oh, it's
Warlock,
Mandarin.
it's Demandred.
Yeah,
he's got his
I forget.
he's got his void
Did he,
overshield. So
did he confirm?
yeah,
Did he confirm?
he said
Okay.
he wants to do it. So that's gonna be our team, and yeah, he's gonna get grabbed because he's gonna feel invincible with his void overshield.
We will see about that.
Yeah.
I still say King.
Yeah, will probably be me. All right. Speaking of Demandred, he's in our chat. You can come to our live streams. We do this every Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on my Twitch channel, Kane Play Stuff. So with that plug out of the way, we can go to Season of Defiance. It's supposed to be about defending Earth from Callus. Callus's forces are coming to Earth. And we see pyramid structures on Earth. Anything you have to say?
I mean, it looks cool. Like, I like that. It's so tough with like these first seasons, like when an expansion drops, because they're never really like big.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the NPCs that are involved with this season, so I think that should make it a little bit interesting. Like, even though I did think Crow kind of seemed suspicious in that trailer, I still enjoy having Crow around. Amanda, is it Petra doing it or is it Mara?
So far we know Mara. We haven't heard Petra's
Okay,
name.
so Mara, which Mara is always kind of, whenever she's involved, really cool stuff. And then Devrim, it's just be nice to have him actually do something again, since he hasn't done anything since Destiny 2 first launched.
Yeah,
So.
pretty much nothing about Forsaken. The expansions, he wasn't really involved. And any of the expansions after that, not really. No. Even Hawthorne, she hasn't really been in any of those.
Yeah. So I mean, the NPCs I think are going to be cool just to have them be active in the world of Destiny. They kind of talked about, once again, like, Earth is under attack, or saving it from Callus's army. So like, be interesting to see on like what sort of like things happen after the season.
The place where they showed off the pyramid structures. Do you think that's a place in the current location? Like, is that in the swamp area, or do you think that's going to be in the seasonal like activity, or do you think that's going to be like a separate location?
I think that was part of. I don't know. I'm trying to think of names of the EDZ. I was thinking that was an actual location.
Yeah, that's why I said the
EDZ.
swamp area in the
Yeah.
EDZ.
I'm thinking that's because that's what it looked like to me. But
I think it might be the seasonal activity myself, because that's kind of just how they do it.
now, have they said on what the seasonal activity? Have they gone? At least that I haven't seen or read. They haven't said anything about seasonal activity. Okay, so do you think it's going to be a 3-person, or are they going to do a 6-person?
6-person.
I'm hoping they do 3. I prefer the 3s.
Yeah, I think they're gonna do 6. It's just because it's like, I think that's how they've been doing it so far, right? It's like a 3-6-3.
Well, I mean, Plunder was kind of weird because we got both.
Yeah, that's true.
So
And then also Haunted was weird because that was like an open location. Um, so yeah, that's for the Season of Defiance. They showed off a little bit more of build crafting and the loadouts. I took a look at some of their mods there, and it looks like they've added different fonts now. So we'll have like font of agility, font of the void weapon, all the different weapon types, and I don't know if they'll have one for each single stat, but if they have one for agility, I could only imagine that they're gonna have something for
I
wisdom,
think
grenade, because I think they already have one for wisdom, um, for intelligence.
to me this is like the other than new content. Um, this is the thing I'm most excited about is just loadouts. I understand like you can do it like on dim, but like it's just gonna be so nice having it in game, especially when the API is down and we can do loadouts just through in game.
Yeah, they've mentioned before, or at least they mentioned today, that you won't be able to um, put stuff into the vault from your character. So, say you load up on one character, you swap to a loadout, you load up on a different character, you need that weapon from that first character. That weapon needs to be in the vault.
Okay, maybe I didn't catch that. Did
Yeah,
they say that somewhere?
yeah. It was in
Yeah, in the
one of the articles that was posted.
yeah.
Yeah. So they said eventually they hope to get that resolved, but not at launch, which is unfortunate. But you just gotta plan around that now, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, they also said in the Vidoc that they want you to go from someone who's never really played with build crafting to someone that's like diving deep into it. So I wonder if there's going to be any in-game like guidance towards making builds.
I'm sure there'll probably be like some sort of quest line, like to kind of like introduce it. So like, and that might kind of like be like a small guidance. Now let's remember, like this is probably the worst game in the world for holding your hand.
Oh yeah,
So I doubt that there's gonna be something really in detail, but they'll probably be like, "Oh, here's build crafting 2.0 loadouts. Here's how you do this, complete the quest, probably get some like random reward."
yeah,
Be my guess.
probably. And I think all their changes that they've made to the way the mods work is going to be a lot more friendlier, and it's going to make a lot
And
more
I think
sense.
that's where they kind of went into. If you haven't experimented with build crafting, I think that's where that they're talking about like how mods are friendlier now on armor.
Hmm.
So I think that's what they meant by that.
For sure. And last to talk about for the Vidoc is Guardian ranks. So uh, this is just something that I noticed is that it really looked like seasonal um, or weekly challenges. So when you go to like week one, let's do this and this to unlock, to get bright dust and XP for your first weekly challenge. And so that made me think: are they going to get rid of weekly challenges and just have the Guardian ranks replace that, along with the seasonal ranks, or if they're going to keep the season pass? Because they haven't said anything about getting rid of the season pass.
I'm gonna say there's gonna be both.
Okay.
Like I think Guardian ranks is like supposed to be like that's replacing our season rank. That's like supposed to be like the like kind of like show you like the person's like true level, I guess. Like if they have a really high like Guardian rank, like they're probably a really good Guardian, powerful Guardian. Um, so I think we'll have both. I think we'll have the challenges, and then we'll have the seasonal challenges, and then we'll have the Guardian rank.
Okay, that makes sense because they haven't said anything about that, and they also still sell seasonal passes. So
Yeah. So
we'll probably be
and
keeping
then
that.
if they would to do that to get rid of seasonal challenges, I think then they would have to then do something to then allow us to get more bright dust.
Yeah, I know you're running
And
low on.
like
I
I
know
feel,
you're running low on bright dust, but
yes, I am very low. But I'm just saying, like, if they would remove that, like, I feel like if they were gonna remove that, I think that would have been talked about,
Mhm.
like, somewhere along the
Yeah,
lines.
for sure, for sure. So looking at the Guardian ranks, I noticed that they've had several different categories. So they had seasonal, Lightfall, Nightfalls, champions, commendations, all sectors, and power. And I think under power, they teased the bow. They also teased the bow in the Vidoc. It's like a stasis exotic bow.
Hmm.
Uh, Something fun to play with. That's probably going to be the seasonal weapon.
Yeah, I feel like it can't be anything like crazy because they probably wouldn't have showed it off.
And then during the commendations screen, which accommodations they're adding accommodations to this. It's basically you're just giving your fire team kudos for whatever you're doing. So say you finish a PvP game, you give kudos to your fire team, or even in a strike. Seems like Gambit maybe. We don't know anything about Gambit because they haven't mentioned anything about Gambit.
Just delete it.
I think it's getting to the point where like, yeah, deleting content sucks, but no one plays
Maybe not
Gambit.
delete it, but like just put it in the vault and like
You're only gonna piss off about 3% of your player base if you do that.
I would say maybe like one, but
Well,
um,
I'm pretty sure they came out with stats that showed like a lot of people only played it like 5% of the time. So
oh, and probably a majority of the people that played it were probably forced to play it because of the seasonal challenges.
that's true.
So, but yeah, just vault it and kind of revamp it,
Hmm.
because it really needs it.
It really needs some love. There hasn't been any changes to it in like 2 years. Uh, so another thing on the accommodation screen was they showed Vow of the Disciple, a raid, and it showed final results or end results. So are we finally going to get damage breakdown for bosses in raids? Or do you think this is going to be a kill death ratio?
I'm leaning more towards just kill death ratio.
Oh, don't say that.
I would love to see like DPS numbers, but but it's just so weird because it's like one of those things where like you could have somebody have like a really low like kill death ratio, but like they might have just absolutely just killed it with DPS. So like maybe that's on how you would determine like on what sort of thingamajig you're gonna give that guardian. So
I would
you know
be,
what?
I'd
You
be
know what?
really up.
Screw it. I'm gonna say it's gonna be damages will be
Yes,
shown.
yes,
I'm gonna say it.
yes.
You heard it
I
here
believe they're
first.
gonna do. I believe they're gonna show damage numbers,
Oh no! Oh my god! It's gone. Wipe it
and I
off.
think they're gonna do it for each boss, not just the final
It's
boss.
it's done.
No,
It's not gonna happen
is
now.
that
Nope.
too is that too
Well, you said
ambitious?
it. You said it's gonna happen.
Oh, it's
So
100%
it's
happening, guys.
yeah,
You hear it here first.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, I called red border changes before I even knew they were gonna happen.
okay.
So I thought it was, I thought it was good here. And then you're like, nah, I'm gonna agree with you.
um, no, how crazy would it be if it didn't show that boss damage numbers, but it showed you how many times you dunked a ball? It's like Sully dunked on Val 6 times. I don't know.
That won't happen. I definitely know that won't be a stat. But
They do that for the wipe screens when you wipe.
Oh, I guess. Yeah, that's true. I don't know. Who
Right.
knows?
Uh, so that's gonna be it. I think
Before
accommodations are
we
what.
go on, I think they actually did a really good job with the Vidoc this time around. I thought they didn't show too much, and they just showed enough to where you're like, okay, I want to see more now.
Yeah.
Like,
They talked about a lot of stuff that we've already seen,
hmm
so that kind of has a mark against it. But where I was really into it was when they showed like the new content from Lightfall, like the new areas. For example, the Puka Pond, and we got to see Nimbus and Rohan, and see a little bit more character come into play. Seeing the Witness be way more involved than previous bosses have been. Um, I think that's where this had its strengths.
for sure.
And last thing I wanted to say about accommodations is that I think this is going to be really good for people that are in clans together, but I'm not too sure about PvP matches if you're playing with randoms. Because I know
Yeah, I don't.
when I played Overwatch and they had accommodations, I would generally give out stuff to just like the guy that did the best and then leave. Or if we won, then I would give it to everybody and then leave.
Yeah, I don't know on how. It's gonna be interesting to see on how that works. I
I'm sure it's
guess.
gonna they're
Yeah.
gonna tweak it at some point.
So
Like
I'm
and it's
sure
also
it's
all
in the
positive,
accommodations.
so it's not like you can
For,
yeah, you're literally gonna have LFGs of people just farming accommodations.
Oh, for sure.
Because that is going to be one of the things for Guardian ranks is how many accommodations you get. So people are going to be farming for certain ones to get that done. So we'll move right into state of the game. I did a little recap. I think there's one or two things here. Are you still here? Okay, you're okay. You
Yeah, I'm
stopped.
here.
You stopped moving, so I got really scared. So I know there's one or two things missing from this that you've mentioned before, but I can't remember what they were. So if you remember, let me know.
One of them is armor is being removed from lost sectors.
Okay, so armor is being removed from lost sectors.
Yep, exotic armor, by the way.
How do you feel about that?
Uh, we'll see, I guess, because we kind of talked about this. Was it Tuesday? We talked about it.
I think
So
so.
like, if so say like on how it's done now, exotic lost sectors, like it rotates every day. Like one day it's head, arms, legs, and chest. If they do that with the playlist, I'm fine with that. Hopefully, it's not just all of them just in one playlist, but like, okay, you're running strikes and you have what was it, a 15% chance on legend?
Um, I think it was like, yeah, 15, and then 20 was the other.
So say like you remove the 15, you bring it down 10% drop rate for Vanguard strikes and um, Crucible when it has like the daily rotator for whatever exotic there is. I'm completely fine with it. But if it doesn't have the daily rotator like the Lost Sectors did, I'm not really a huge fan, I guess. But
Yeah, I would have been fine with just increasing the drop rate for lost sectors, because you would get to the
well,
point where you would run 10 lost sectors and you get one drop.
I think well, and I think I mean there's that, but I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to make it enticing to play in these playlists.
Yeah,
You know, reasons to go and play the Vanguard ops, reasons to go and play Crucible. So,
yeah.
and I guess Gambit, but
It's gonna be a real nice change. For me, it's gonna be a very, very welcoming change, because I was so frustrated at doing lost sectors, I just would not do them anymore. I would be like, screw this, it's not worth my time. I'd rather be playing Wild Hearts or something.
Hearts over Destiny.
Hey, Wild Hearts over Lost Sector farming, yes.
The True Guardian.
Yeah, I guess not. My Guardian rank's gonna be super low. So let's get right into the state of the game. This is gonna be a little bit all over the place because I kind of read this from bottom to up when I made these notes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna start off with Trials. Trials is gonna get a big revamp for rewards. I'm excited about this because I did play Trials for the rewards for a while, but it just got to the point where it was just so grindy that it just was not worth my time and frustration. I'm excited to see them increase rewards. We'll see how much of an increase they get and see if it's worth my time, but I'm happy.
Not worth mine.
Yeah, you're one of the few, like, you're really good at PvP and you just don't do Trials because you're just, no.
Maybe with Lightfall, like football season's over with. I don't think we'll have as much overtime this year, so I should have a lot more free time to just maybe like, okay, maybe I'll play some Trials this week and get like 2 other people to play and just see what happens.
They're going to be adding an exotic mission rotator. This is exciting because the exotic missions are some of their best missions, but I don't know what kind of rewards they're going to add to this. Is it just going to be the exotic that you get from that will drop?
Pinnacle, and then probably a chance for like that exotic to drop. Because like, which ones are they adding? They're adding like 4 of them, right?
They're adding the ones that released this year. So Vox, Seraph Shield, and I think there was one more, but I don't remember.
I think I have it up. A second. Based on what seasons they were.
Yeah. For me personally, I probably won't be playing this outside of the Pinnacle.
Okay, so exotic missions from season 13, 16, and 19. Oh. Fox Operation, Seraph Shield, and then the Witch Queen thingy-majig.
The Witch Queen thingy-majig? What?
The for Dead Man's Tale.
Oh. Presage? Is that it? Is it Presage?
I think so.
Okay, so yeah.
That would have been 13, right?
Yeah, 13 was last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't be playing these outside of getting the Pinnacle. If they added like something else to it, maybe I would. But yeah.
I mean, I think it's just a nice way for like people to actually like that haven't played during that time to be able to potentially get those exotics if the exotics drop. I don't know. They don't really say on what's going to drop from this, but I'm going to assume that it's going to be the exotic and then a pinnacle would drop.
Yeah.
So
they could add exotic weapons into there for people that like, they have to buy exotics from Xur. So for you and me, it won't matter. So they also mentioned that they're going to be doing an overhaul for Lake of Shadows and Arms Dealer, specifically the encounters for those missions. These two are like notoriously known to be the easiest missions in Destiny for even Grandmaster. Pretty easy to farm out. They might be adding this because overhauling it as well because of what's going to happen to the EDZ.
maybe that could be something.
I could see it being more callous for Arms Dealer, and then more Witness for Lake of Shadows.
Potentially, I actually didn't even think about this since that's the seasonal stuff. Probably not, but yeah, that I didn't think about that. I just think it's just they're really easy strikes, so that they want to try to maybe revamp it and make it a little bit more challenging for higher end content, I think.
Yeah, but it's gonna be nice to have those two back. I've been missing those for a while. They're also going to be adding the heist battlegrounds to Nightfalls. I know you guys are super pumped about that. The first one for this season is going to be the Mars battleground.
That's gonna be brutal for GM.
Now, why is that?
The Mars one? Oh, that is gonna be horrible. Just absolute brutal.
It's not like you're time gated or anything.
No, but still, it's me. I definitely like a challenge, but man, that's gonna be. Oof.
You know what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to start the one at the very end and then work your way up. Maybe, I don't know. I don't solo GM, so
I don't know.
I'm not.
I'm just talking about just in general. Like I think even with 3 people, like
Yeah, the Mars one's gonna
that's
be
gonna
tough
be-
because there's like a lot of enemies shooting at you all the time,
yeah,
and then you have that one guy that suppresses your abilities. So
yeah. Which I have no issue with them bringing those in to like the Grandmaster level or the Nightfall level, however you want to say it. I think they'll add some nice challenge and like it's something different since like we've done every strike in the game for GM level. So
yeah, it's just nice to have a little bit of variety for the strike playlist.
oh for sure.
One thing that they mentioned about bringing Guardians together is that they're gonna be adding text chat, which they already have added, but they're making it opt in by default. So if you don't want to be part of it, you have to opt out. I don't know if they've walked this back, but they changed the wording on their blog post to say not say opt in or opt out at all. So we'll see if they walk that back or not. But I think having a global chat or like they do have local chats, but you have to opt in would be really nice. A nice addition to get people starting to talk to each other and be more MMO like.
Yeah, that makes sense. Really think about that since they're technically, I guess, an MMO.
They're an MMO only in theory.
Yeah, I didn't really have anything that I was like cool, I guess, on this topic. So
And speaking of MMO, they're adding an LFG, which we knew was coming, but they're saying that's going to come during the last season of the year, for the year of Lightfall. Ideally, it was supposed to come during the 3rd season, but they pushed that out. It's unfortunate.
yeah. Yeah.
So for seasonal activities, instead of having to use like currency, like the Seraph essence and the opulent essence type of currencies, they're gonna give you a key. So you use the key to unlock the bonus chest at the end of the seasonal activity. I think those keys are actually going to drop from any activity. So it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be from the seasonal activity that it will drop from.
Yeah, I think with the way that they worded it in this to where it kind of be like, oh, and it's also gonna drop from like the seasonal activity. They worded it like really weird to where it was like, okay, is this only dropping from the seasonal activity? But I think they're just confirming that this is also going to drop from the seasonal activity, unlike the other stuff.
Yeah,
like,
and they want to make the chest feel more like a reward at the end of the activity that you're going to play, instead of having to be a requirement. Because right now, I just feel like don't even bother loading into that activity unless you have that thing to unlock the other chest.
Yeah. I think honestly the biggest thing I took away from that is, at least if what I understood right, is that your umbrals or your seasonal engrams aren't going to be stored in your inventory. They're going to be stored at the vendor.
Yeah, just like Vanguard
And
and the other one,
I
Crucible.
was like, my god, thank you.
Yeah, it got really bad with the engrams because you would get full on umbrals and then you'd either delete them or take them Rahul and just automatically decrypt them. You wouldn't care about focusing them anymore because you got all the weapons right away.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a little nice change of pace. So when it comes to the end of the season, you can go to another vendor to pop those engrams before they expire.
I don't think they expire in the seasons. Do they?
Really? I didn't know.
I think they might be yearly,
Okay.
but I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that.
I would still
So I
pop them
think-
just in case, but
Yeah.
you never know. So yeah, we talked about this before, but the first season is going to be Season of Defiance, second season is going to be Season of Deep, and we all know the Deep is related to the Hive or the Worm Gods, or anything darkness related, really.
I was thinking Vex, but okay.
You just want to get that Season of the Vex back.
Right. You know,
Vex-
I need the Vex Offensive 2.0 in here.
Yeah, we got build crafting 2.0, so
Yeah.
gotta get Vex Offensive 2.0.
Which, okay, so it's crazy. We went from this season not knowing literally anything until it dropped. That's when we found a lot of the stuff out. To now knowing what the next two seasons' names are. We don't know what Season of the Deep is like gonna be about, but like we know the name.
Yeah, I think they said going forward they're going to be more open too in their communications again.
Yeah.
The reason they closed up, at least from an outsider's perspective, is that a lot of their devs got harassed during, I think it was during Plunder, but I can't remember. It was either during Plunder or during Haunted. A lot of their devs were getting harassed, so they kind of just went media blackout.
Plunder was Plunder Arc?
Plunder was Arc. Yes.
So it was Season of the Haunted.
Okay. Yeah, Haunted was Fire. Yeah, Solar. But it could have also just been that they just wanted to get their communications down, right?
Yeah.
Let's see what else we have here. Guardian rank. Yeah, so we said before that Guardian rank is going to replace your season rank, at least on your nameplate. Okay, so talk a little bit about crafting. They said that the fewer weapons are going to be available to be crafted, which I welcome because it felt like crafting was one of those things that I had to get every single one of the patterns.
Are we gonna really? We're probably not gonna like do TWAP, are we?
Probably
just
not.
bring those up.
We'll talk about the one thing at the end. That's about it.
One thing at the end.
Yeah, about the pay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So because there's a lot of like, I guess people like wondering. So when the new, like when Lightfall drops, we'll have the seasonal weapons, the Lightfall weapons, and then we'll have the base raid weapons, plus a handful of other weapons that they haven't announced yet when Lightfall drops. And then going forward after that, it will just be the seasonal weapons and then the raid reprise weapons.
Jeez, this still
So,
sounds
like-
like a lot.
Yeah, it does. But I mean, I think because in Haunted and then this season we got
It was the 2 dungeon weapons.
but I'm just talking in general, we got like
Oh, how many?
probably almost 20 weapons between those two seasons to be crafted.
Are you counting
Close
the
to-
Are you counting the dares?
No, I'm not counting dares.
Okay. Because that's when they added that. It was during those seasons.
Okay, so then probably closer to 25, 27.
Yeah, it's a lot. But yeah, I felt like I was driven to get for because I have a completionist mentality, so I felt like I needed to get every single weapon, and then when I didn't, it was the FOMO was kicking in. Um, so maybe that's just more on me that I just need to let go.
No, well, and I think the biggest issue for me, like, I like crafting. Will kind of, I think it's literally the next topic, that we'll discuss. But like, it took way too much of RNG out of the game. Like, I understand like why it's there, and like it's a cool system, but I think there were just too many good weapons. Like, I'm running a raid, and like literally two of my three weapons that I'm using are crafted. So like there was literally, other than like getting the red border drops, there was like bare minimum zero RNG.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so we're gonna be able to get enhanced perks on more guns. You can level up non-crafted guns to get the enhanced perk. I don't think this is coming right away. I think
Which
this
I
is
called
coming. Yeah, I think you talked about this last week.
last week. I believe it is coming next, the season after Lightfall is released.
Okay, I
I
know it's either
believe.
the second or the third season, but it's coming.
But it's not gonna be available right away. I'm thinking it's the second. It's a season of the deep. I think it's when it's coming.
Yeah, so enhanced adepts are gonna have it in Season of the Deep.
Yeah, which will be really nice to make adept weapon actually like feel better than non-adept weapons. So
Yeah,
it's really cool.
yeah, and it really helps people that like get really lucky, like me, where I got that God roll Akelos off the bat, and I didn't want to like
Grind for it.
grind for the enhanced versions of the perks.
I saw another thing with having the adept weapons, being able to have enhanced perks that makes master raid content a lot more enticing to go into. Because like other than doing the challenges and like getting like the adept weapon for the collections, it's really worth the time.
Yeah, and I think you need to get new adepts to upgrade them. I think that's right. I'm not sure.
My guess would probably be you're right on that.
Mm-hmm. And if there's nothing else about crafting, we'll move into the last bullet point here.
No, because we went over a lot of this stuff with crafting last week with all the stuff being removed. So
All right, so our last bullet point here is that Season of the Deep will not have a pinnacle or power increase, which is a big change since they've been doing only 10.
You're
not a fan?
No, should be plus 100. Go up 100 each
I can't.
season.
Okay, now you're just being sarcastic. Personally, myself, I miss the pinnacle grind. Like I know, like it sucks for a lot of people with the RNG. You're trying to get that one thing, it's not working out. But I like grinding for a bigger number to make myself feel better.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
I guess Guardian ranks is gonna like supposed to help with that, but it's such a low number. I want to have a bigger number.
In 5 years, maybe it will be like level like 2000. You know?
Hey, that's what we're gonna be at the end of all this.
So I don't know. Oh no. Have they said how much it's going up by?
I don't think they've said, but there were screenshots, and I think like we've seen 1800, like 18 something, maybe 1850, something like that. Yeah, I don't know. Like having just the pinnacle grind during the seasons made a lot of sense, just because people would go away and then come back, and it would take forever to catch up with your friends. But having no increase is a little disappointing.
I mean, as I said, I mean, it makes sense. Like, I'm like you, like, I want to see, like, it was just another thing to grind for, I guess. But I mean, I would say we're probably in the minority on we enjoy the pinnacle grind, where I would say the majority is just kind of like this is old, this needs to be updated, this needs to be just gone, just get rid of it.
Yeah,
So
yeah. A lot of
they
people.
haven't really finalized on what they're doing. So like maybe this season they're that next season, Season of the Deep, it's when they test that out. Maybe they test a different theory out um after. So who knows? They said they're gonna be tweaking their way to like power grind all year. So
Yeah, I think it was last week that they mentioned that their baseline difficulties is going to increase. So we shall see. It seems like their power is kind of not going to mean anything going forward. Yeah, so that's it for the last bullet point. There was something from the TWAB that I wanted to talk about, and it was the pay to skip. So what they're offering, which is new, they're offering one thing that's not new, and that's just to skip levels to get to uh, power level. But the second thing that they're adding is an ability to skip the campaign altogether. Um, and that's only if you've finished the campaign once already. So if you have 3 characters, this affects you. If you have 1, does not affect you at all. So you can complete the campaign on 1 character, and then if you don't want to run the campaign on your other 2 characters, you can pay real life dollars to skip the campaign to finish it. Now, I think they should have just built this in to the
you
main.
gotta make the moolah.
But yeah, they gotta make their dollars. But this feels a little scummy to me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't play enough MMO, so I don't know if like this is a thing
I think it is. I don't
in
know.
MMO. So I really don't. Um, I feel like the campaign itself probably it is. It's gonna be super long. So like I feel like it really probably won't be that bad to like okay, you do your first character and you play on legendary and then like the next 2 characters you could probably just run through it on normal.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not necessarily a fan of this, but also as I said, I don't really it doesn't affect me because I'm gonna run it on all 3 characters. So
Yeah, it doesn't affect me either, but it just I don't know. I gotta stop thinking about the microtransactions for this game because it's starting to feel a little bit too much. But yeah, campaigns are not usually that long in Destiny, maybe 5-6 hours usually, and then you
yeah,
have the post game stuff, which is the real grind. It is the
the
real
rest of
game.
your life.
Uh, but the campaigns are so good recently, I don't see why you would want to skip them. But if you're doing it again, if you're the kind of person that doesn't really care about campaigns in games and you just want the grind, then this is for you, I guess. So talking earlier about the current Pinnacle grind, what you change about it? This is a question we got from Justin. He's one of our admins in our Discord. Um, we kind of talked about that earlier. Is that we kind of like the grind, but do you have any ideas on something that you would change about it?
I would do every expansion. Reset us to let's say 0, maybe 100, and then it's say you got to go up 600 power the expansion, then 100 for every season.
They used
Just
to
that
do, yeah.
Justin has a lot of power to grind.
They used to do that. They used to do, I think it was what, 50?
Yeah, it used to be. Yeah, it used to be 50, and I want to say it was. Shoot, what is it? Shadowkeep when they turned that down, or was it Beyond Light? The
It might have
first,
been
like,
this year.
no, it was this year.
Okay.
It was either the first season after Beyond Light. I think it was the first season after Beyond Light. It was just Pinnacle because it used to be 50 power every season.
Mm-hmm.
which I think that's a little extreme, but like
Honestly, I liked it the
something
way
to
it
grind.
was before, where it was just the 10 for the pinnacle and
Yeah,
the base increase for the expansion.
yeah.
Um, and then we have a question here from Axel. He's also in our Discord, and he asks us what our favorite raid is and why is it our favorite raid. We've talked about this before in our previous incarnation of the show, but since we haven't talked about it in the current one, and Axel wants to know, what is your favorite raid?
I'll let you go first.
Okay, so my favorite raid, um,
I
before,
already know it.
yeah, you probably already know it, but before, um, Witch Queen, I would have said Prestige Leviathan. You really don't like that. I don't know. This is one of my favorite ones to run. I liked the Gauntlet. I liked a lot of the encounters in that.
Okay, little we'll backtrack on this. The
Mm.
reason I don't like it is we're over here. Okay, we got one or two new guardians coming in, to the clan. They're like, okay, hey, let's run Leviathan. I'm like, all right, we'll sure be Leviathan. Okay, hey, let's do Prestige. Oh yeah, let's do Prestige. We're high enough power. 5 hours later, we're still stuck on freaking the first encounter because people don't know how to rotate on
Gauntlet.
what's the gauntlet.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of like, really, Kane?
Okay. Yeah. But okay. I don't know. A Prestige Leviathan. It changed up the way the base raid worked. Like it just added a couple more things that I thought was interesting. I like the
Yeah.
whole like game show aspect of it was pretty cool. Um, and it had some pretty good guns. Like Midnight Coup is still one of the best guns that people fondly remember.
The
But
shaders. Really
shaders
good
were
on both
very
of those.
good, and but I think now I'm gonna say it's gonna be Vow. I think Vow's my
Really?
favorite one. Might be partly recency bias, but I think just it's one of those raids where you can't just let someone just shoot ads, except for maybe the last encounter. Someone also always has to be doing something.
Yeah, because I mean, the first encounter, I mean, they kind of like have to like pay attention to
The pillar, they have to defend the pillar or take
pillar.
out a
So
champion. Second encounter, you can have someone run ads, but they also have to defend the pillar. So it's not just kill shit. And third one,
yeah,
everyone needs to have a role in that one. Fourth one, you could get away with people just shooting ads, but
kind of. But once again, they still have to like give call out. At least one person has to give call outs
yeah,
on where the dunkers need to go. So
yeah. And I do like heavy mechanics for my raids, and I do like symbols in my raids. So it's kind of the perfect pot for me.
and then the boss encounter. You're not gonna mention the boss encounter?
Yeah, the boss encounter is really sick. The fact that he just roams around and you have to deal and react to him moving. It's one of
Okay,
their
so
best boss encounters.
before I answer my question or the question for myself, is the next raid gonna have a boss mechanic like that? Is he gonna be roaming? Yes or no?
I wish I knew who the boss was, because then I could think about it better.
No, don't
But
matter. Yes or no?
yeah, I'm gonna say yes. Yeah,
You're gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes as well.
because that went over really well with people, and they said that this is going to be more of a war. So I could see them doing something where you have to stay on top of the boss. Like you can't just sit in one spot and pluck away.
Get your swords out. So I'll answer Axel's question. So I think the best raid in Destiny's Last Wish. I feel like that raid was just fantastic. But my favorite raid is gonna be Crown of Sorrow.
It's a very the last two encounters are probably the best
The
encounters.
first two encounters are just god awful.
Yeah,
They are horrible. But those last two encounters are just so much fun. There's just so much going on. like with communications. I mean, the team's breaking up into 3 groups of 2, like juggling stuff. It was just
Yeah.
a
Like
lot of
talking
fun.
about like having to have everyone involved, everyone had to be involved on that one.
Yeah. Like unless you were like running with like a normal like raid group all the time, like when you got to those 2 encounters, you couldn't really small talk because you had to have, I mean, everybody was doing something different, and then you had to like hear this person give this call out so that this team could go do something. It was just by far that was one of my. And the only reason I say it's also my favorite is that was a really fun raid to Sherpa, too, because
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't like super long, unless like you really struggle on the third and the fourth encounter. So
Yeah. The that back when my dad was still playing with us, I remember him loading into like supply like sub out someone else,
mhm.
and he I think he only read it like 2 or 3 times, but he just like knew what to do the entire time, and I was so impressed. I was like, well, one of the times I was like impressed by my dad playing a game in like a long time.
Shots fired, I guess.
Uh, well, he's older now, you know, like his hands don't work as well. So, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. Um, so we'll be back next week. I'm just gonna
It's
take
gonna
a
be that's gonna be an interesting week because it's gonna be what 4 days to Lightfall.
yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then Tuesday. So like 5, I guess.
Okay, 5.
Um, yeah, we'll be back next week. We'll see if there's any new info. I feel like we've gotten the most amount of info that we could
Yeah,
possibly get.
I think we're pretty much done. We might get like some just random quality of life, maybe some like UI stuff announced this next week, but I don't think nothing crazy. Maybe we can just kind of dive in and talk about like expectations next week of Lightfall. I feel like that might be good.
Sounds good. So before we end the show, Sully, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch at Sully__games.
And I'm gonna pull up something. I don't know if you saw what I sent to you.
Did you throw it on Discord?
I can't. I'm just trying to see if this is like relevant to our
Yeah,
discussion. Oh yeah. So it was the commercial
keep up to you
for
folks.
Destiny 2's launch, and how they they don't make them like this anymore.
Oh, the live action?
Yeah, it was like part live action, part in game, I believe, because it was Kay talking over. Maybe that's
Oh,
something
is it?
that we can talk about. Is our favorite like Destiny commercials?
Where'd you send it? Was it Instagram or TikTok?
TikTok.
Let me mute it. I want to see what you're trying to show me. Because I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, maybe that's something we could talk about in the future. Is like our favorite like Destiny like reveals or um, like commercials or hype packages or anything like that. But you can find me. We'll wrap this up here. But you can find me on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and TikTok at Kane Plays Stuff. Again, join us every Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, on my Twitch channel, and we will be doing this show. You can be part of the chat, hang out with Soul Gear and Demandred. And until then, guys, eyes down, Guardians.